Well, hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Greetings from around the world. You are live tonight with Akasha and Joan of Angels. We are going to be doing a full moon equinox activation, bringing in messages from Greece, messages from the moon, and from Egypt, where I currently am. And we are your sacred guides, and we have so much to share. We're going to have the first of many celebrations online, collaborations that the two of us have been doing together. And we're just so excited to share. This is my first live stream that I've done in months and months and months because I've been on the road. I can't wait to share it with you and share it with Nan and share. I don't know. I think she wants to share me with you. I want to share you with her. So hello, Nan.
Hi, sweetie. I'm so excited. And we're finally.
You look beautiful as usual, and you look so calm, cool, and collected. So I really love that. And we already have a tribe gathering, both friends of yours, friends of mine. So I'm just happy to see everyone. We'll kind of connect. Can you see them, Nan? I want you to see that all these comments come in right here.
Oh,
you see that? Like, look, hi, Nan. This
is
there we go.
Wonderful. Hi, Sylvia. Oh, good. There's Sylvia. Yes, wonderful. I'm glad. Oh, good, Lisa. Isn't that nice? She's glad to be here with the demigoddesses. I love it.
Right. And thank us for doing it. So one of the beauties of this platform is, look, we can both see everything. And so, guys, we want you to keep your comments coming. Some of you are new to me, so let us know where you're from, or let me know where you're from. So Nan and I are global. Nan is in Mexico, and I am right now conducting my second tour in Egypt. And so we have a lot to share under this new equinox. The full moon is coming. Yeah. The energies are rising. And Nan and I we're going to be meeting in Greece for the first time in person in less than 2 weeks, I think.
I know. It's amazing.
Right?
Yes. It's like, well, it's the 21st. So in 9 days, we're going to be having dinner on the roof overlooking the Parthenon.
And I want to tell everyone how it happened. Guys, I've been in Europe since May. And one of the things I'm most grateful for is I've gotten to take 2 tours of people. I'm a cosmic spiritual leader. And I've taken 2 groups of people to Egypt. I'm in the middle of the second tour. And I've had the most wonderful activations. And before I started on the Egypt part of my trip, I just told Nan about some of the past life visions I've had that happened in Greece. And I mentioned to her that I was thinking of, wow, wouldn't it be great if all the oracles, we returned to Delphi, and I want to go to the Parthenon where I had my first vision. And Nan, bless her soul, I don't know, she got right on it, and she created a tour as if it was specially created for me, because I wanted to see these sites, because in my mind I was thinking, well, I wish I could just create a Return of the Oracles tour next year. But Nan created one this year, actually, a mini tour, and she was so quick with it and so efficient that we're actually going on, like, my first part of my fantasy is going to happen in 2 weeks in Greece. And then we are going to tell you all about what we're co-creating for next year. But it happened because I'm here in Europe, and I just felt there's no way I can go home unless I go to Greece, because I've had visions of being an oracle in Greece. I've been an angel in Greece, a goddess in Greece. And how could I be so close to Greece and not go?
Yeah.
And Nan created a trip. I think she created it just for me and invited everyone else along, because it's exactly what I needed, Nan.
Yeah. Well, what's so fun about this is how everybody's spiritual paths are ignited, right? And that's what we're in the Great Awakening, the Grand Transformation now. And we're getting really into the hot mess of it. We're watching our realities change, fall away. We're waking up to new realities. And maybe, I was in Greece in Egypt the first time 23 years ago, I think. And I was there for 3.5 weeks with my mystery school. And we did 2 days of 4 hours a day in the King's Chamber, and all these activations. You can just stand next to the pyramids and feel the energies. Vroom, 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 vroom. It used to make me sick in my room at the main house. Turn it off.
You can't be. By the way, you cannot be in the King's Chamber more than 2 hours. You can get a 2-hour ceremony if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And if you know the right people now to pay them off to get
Yeah.
it.
It was incredible, but it's what I know, for me, it was the first really powerful trip that combined going in the 3D and awakening these portals, awakening these ancient structures, awakening the land, and bringing our codes, bringing the parts of us that need to be there to help that land or that temple or that wisdom reawaken, and pick up the codes from there, the energy, the light, the inspiration. It comes through in whatever way, but it's light, right? And when that light comes to you, you have the ability to receive it, and you go there and it's 20,000 times more powerful, right, than doing it from afar. But you can do it from afar. And we're all having this breakdown. We're all having this waking up. So for me, this was like, I'm here and I live in the Yucatan, and I live, I don't know, 11 minutes from a pyramid. And I'm constantly, in the last 7 years, been diving deep, deep, deep into the Mayan wisdom and the sacred energies of the pyramids, and taking people and activating, because that first time in Egypt, we had such special access and such abilities. And you do have some of those amazing experiences. And when you're there, you get to do that, then a whole new level of experience happens, right, in your awakening. And we're waking up to the multidimensionality of who we are. So the equinox is the perfect time to balance, right, to connect across the planet, to find the clear, to find the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And for us right now, for all of us, it's not a woman-man thing. That's rising, allowing that sacred feminine to reawaken and become, it's not that it's going to overshadow, but it's so far repressed that it needs to come back up. And you've been doing amazing stuff over there. Tell us about it.
It's very exciting. First of all, you said in the 3D world. Now, I know any of you guys who are on the show with us tonight, you've been there on the other realms. You probably were an oracle of some kind in Greece and in Egypt, and so many of us have had these past lives. But it is true, when you walk the land, you experience it. When you're sitting, like the Mina house, you can sit right under the temple. Or yesterday, I was at the Sphinx for the second time. These set structures, the rocks, they hold energy. But I've been here in Egypt. So I've been in Egypt since September 5th. And we've been activating different parts. And I want to share an experience I had in the Isis temple, because I think that's most profound. And, some of these gods and goddesses.
Yeah, let's clarify who ISIS is, because believe it or not, there's people who think it's this terrorist group. And so I've had some like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, okay. So it seems like really, but Isis is an Egyptian goddess that is the mother goddess, right? And she's the resurrection specialist, and she's the mother of Horus, who would be the equivalent of being Mary to Jesus. And, it's that kind of energy. And this is her right here. This is a version of her that I have. This was painted by a dear friend of mine who passed on. And so we're not talking about terrorist groups, and we're not talking about religion. So I want to clarify that your religion, this is not religion. We're not trying to create a religion. We are reading the energies. We are connecting with the truth of our multidimensional nature and all of the spirits. And when we go somewhere, we go in light. We go to free the dark, meaning like the fear, the pain, and whatever may have happened there. And that goes into Gaia. We already have that agreement, and we walk in light. So the information that we're awakening in the temples, the connections that we start to have to the ancient gods or goddesses, is with that archetypical symbolic energy. And they hold so much wisdom and love and power that it becomes that we're not walking alone anymore. So, okay.
Right. No, that's so true. And we are reawakening those energies. And there's so much masculine energy that comes in there. And the Egyptians are really not very savvy. They're very afraid of meditation. They're afraid of chanting. And many of the travelers that go there, sort of are confused about the true history of the pyramids. The pyramids are used for sound and light and energy generation. They're not really just tombs. And so When we come in, we're light workers, and so we attract that light energy. And for me, it's been extremely activating. By the way, here's my new musical instrument. These are this is the bells of Hathor. It was gifted to me because I'm awakening my memories as Hathor. And that's the other beauty. When you're in Egypt and Greece, you remember who you are and your highest of self. You'll all remember things like being a high priestess or an initiate. So the people who come with us have been initiated. We're going to even have Grecian initiation.
Yeah, definitely.
But
and
what I've also
oracles, we both have memories of being oracles. I first went to Greece when I was 9, and I walked around going, oh, that's over there, that's over there. I knew where the springs were. I remembered being a maiden in the schools because you lived there as an oracle in training, and all of that. And I still now, when this started to reawaken, when you said something, in fact, when we started talking in February about doing a retreat somewhere else,
right,
I thought, I need to talk to you about Greece and something Celtic, but we'll do that later. And I put it on the shelf until you brought this up, whatever. And then what it did was it went in and started waking up. All my earliest past life memories were of Greece. I knew everything. I read the myths, but I knew it. I lived it. I still embody it. And I hadn't thought about it in so long. It was like pulling out your childhood powers again. So it's been this incredible journey of reawakening my connection to these energies, the places. I've been there a few times before, but not in 23 years. So it's a returning. You said something about returning.
The return of the oracles.
Yeah, and the returning to the sacred energy in the land there was Gaia's belly button. It was called the navel. And so we're going to reconnect, literally take our little butts and sit them right there on Gaia's navel and reconnect our own powers right straight. You can feel it, can't you? Right into the sacral, right into those 8 original cells. And that's going to start a spread on the planet. And this is happening before the eclipse in October. And where you are now is during the equinox, super powerful, like the stuff you're doing right now. So when you have this opportunity to do this, we're going to reawaken the wealth that Delphi had, all because of the oracle, who could only be a divine feminine, right? Who could only be a woman. And so the respect and the wealth is also being reawakened for the divine feminine and the sacred feminine and the intuitive arts. So all of us who are in that arts, we're going to see that starting in a few years, and then it's going to grow over many, 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 many years, is this return. And so what I've been told is that what we're doing is we're going back to activate those and more. And of course, that oracle within yourself. So if you have the memories of being we're in Egypt too, or you don't have the memories, it doesn't matter. If you feel called, these are energies that you have key codes for.
Right. No, I agree. And what I found so fascinating is the minute I told you that I was going to go to Greece and I was going to the Parthenon, where I was told I was an angelic being. I can't wait. The hotel looks over the Parthenon. So we're going to have dinner there the night before the tour. So you and I can activate that, and I can share that dream again that I had when I was shown that I was healing, inspiring millions of people, dressed as an amazing goddess. And I've also had dreams of going back to the oracle, going back to Delphi. And I even painted some beautiful paintings that you'll see when we're in Greece that I've had visions of being an oracle at. So all of you guys were just awakening up those memories. But I'm eager to share what happened in the Isis temple.
Yes.
And guys, Isis was also the goddess of magic. And she had these huge wings, and she spread these wings across the planet. She enveloped people in her love. She was able to go into the underworld and find all the parts of her husband. She's able to reconnect the man as a tremendous healer. And so she has a great, vast wealth of compassion, especially for women. But what happened was very powerful for me, and I'm going to explain it to you. We walk into the Isis temple, and we arrived there by boat in the middle of the night. So we had a private session with Isis in the temple. And so we all gathered in the courtyard. It was both men and women. And then the women proceed to go into the Isis temple. And we gather around an altar, and someone places a huge statue of Isis that has all of these wings. You can't see, but they're huge. And I'm standing right behind her, and I'm holding sacred space. And several
Am I
of the
able
women.
to share my screen? Because I have your photos.
Oh, yeah. Let's share
Do
this.
I have that power? Okay.
No. Go down to the bottom setting. Go to present.
Present. Got it.
Do you have them ready?
Screen. Yeah.
Because I want to describe what happened and then what happened after with the men.
I think it's extremely.
We don't have high Wi-Fi right now.
Okay. Maybe it won't work. I have to.
You're slowing down a bit.
Can you see my screen? Okay.
No.
No.
And it could be because the Wi-Fi here in this hotel in Egypt is iffy.
All right. Give me 1 second. Let me see if it will open, and you can go ahead and keep talking. If it opens.
Okay. So we walk in, and the women and I are gathered, and we have chanting, we have songs, we have this very juicy feminine energy. I mean, it is so juicy that it was bringing tears to many of our eyes. It was probably 20 to 30 women crowded around this altar. And then, I'm not going to say who it was, but the leader, one of the leaders of the tour, a man, comes in and he says, "Okay, women, it's time for you to leave." Well, that was very disturbing because, and I'll tell you exactly why it was disturbing. We had created this womb. And the first thing that happened is he's asking us to leave. They're entering the divine feminine without understanding they're entering our womb. They're entering the feminine world. And the second thing that happened is he then started to do a talk about Isis, and a logical talk, while we're all in this feeling state of the divine feminine. And he even did a meditation that was all in the head. So it was all masculine. So it was, and most of the women were okay with it. I wasn't okay with it. And none of the women left, by the way. He was demanding us to leave, and none of us left because it was our temple. It was our womb. The men were supposed to come in and experience what it's like to be when the women activated and to actually feel that activation. So when we invite men into our womb, once again in the Isis temple, this man takes it over without any concept of what he had done. None. And half the women were blind to that too, because we're so used to a man just coming in and saying, "Move over, I'm here, we'll take over from now on." And it was happening right before my eyes in the temple of Isis. And I knew I was uncomfortable, but it wasn't until the next morning we're all at the airport and I started talking to every woman to ask, what kind of experience did you have? How did you feel when the men came in and started to push us out? And the experience that everyone had was, oh yeah, men do that. They just come in. And so in this learning to balance male and female energies, the divine mother and the divine feminine, masculine, what I realized is that part of our training is to have men come into our womb space, our temple space, and actually the women should have and could have continued doing the chants and prayers, so that the men could experience the true divine feminine, as opposed to only experiencing it because they come and take it over. And we replay that in our life in so many different ways. And so I get to go to the Isis temple next week. We're not going to be doing a ceremony, so I won't be leading a ceremony, but I think that's one of the stories that I'm going to be sharing, is how we unconsciously just have allowed it to come in and not even demanded our space in it. Does that make sense, Nan?
Yeah. Can you see the pictures?
No.
Oh, shoot. I've had the pictures up now for a while of you. So, okay.
You have to click on, look down at the bottom. It says present.
Share.
You should be able to present.
Yeah, and I opened it, and then it just says share, but it's not letting me share.
Let me see what happens when I open share. When you say, oh no, slides.
Oh, now it says share. Okay.
Okay, good. Share screen.
Do you see the screen now? I have to change over here.
Well, did you actually put up? You know what? I think that
Now I'm putting the
gonna
slideshow back up. Can you see you?
I see only me and you.
You don't see a picture. Okay.
No, but I think what I can do is find those ISIS pictures and try to show them.
Well, I had them on the screen and I was looking at them while you were talking. So I was channeling them for everyone. Yeah, they're quite amazing and it's wonderful. I love what you said because I want to make clear that I have absolutely nothing against men, that many men are very awakened and that this isn't about a gender war. We're not blaming anybody in our past or anyone else. Everybody was living out their moment of reality at that mindset. We have evolved so fast that in this lifetime, most of us have gone through the equivalent of dozens, if not hundreds of other lifetimes in awakening to higher levels of consciousness, remembering who we are, sensing energy, starting to understand there's a multidimensionality to who we are, to every moment, walking in two worlds more and more, listening to our inner authority. And in this process, we're all globally waking up to the conditioning that has happened over a lot of time of the masculine being dominant, taking over, right? So
Yes.
what's really great is that we're waking up now, and I'm not interested in getting into a big conversation about the evil and this person did that. I'm over that. The newest conversation is at this higher level where we go and we say, okay, I'm going to a higher level out of judgment into 5D consciousness. I'm going into my crystal Akasha temple. You got to go where you're not a part of the story. And where we're looking at now is all these ascended masters, these gods, goddesses, nature spirits, this conscious divine energy that's filled with power, light, inspiration, medicine, guidance, knowledge, wisdom. You know, just the earth itself has been here so long. Think about the wisdom in the crystals and the earth and the waters and all of that. So we waking up to the fact that these are also Gaia herself, as well as these places, these temples that hold these energies. We're tapping into the light of the time when the temple of Isis, I had a profound healing in Philae. 23 years ago, I went to the King's Chamber 2 days in a row with 200 people. We didn't all fit in the King's Chamber, but for 4 hours with toning and chanting and didgeridoos and the wall and the whole other universe. And it was epic. And we blew the power out on the entire Giza Plateau. And so when we came back, there was no air, there was no light, there was, we had to find our way out. And it triggered for me and many people a massive claustrophobia that I really never had. I'd had a little bit once. And I had that through everything we did until we got to Philae. And when we went to the Temple of Isis at dawn, just with our group, nobody there, and we get out, it's dark, and the mists are there on the water. And we go through the temple, and we went out on the portico, and we do our activation there. And it was profound. The whole way I was singing a song that this man on the tour that brought a musician with was, taught us. And it was like a mantra and a chant, and it was beautiful, and it's soothing to my soul. And she just came and embodied us and showed us what sacred feminine meant in a way that I'd never known, because I was thinking sacred feminine with my head, right? And this is the embodiment, like you said, like, oh, we've allowed, and I channeled Gaia, Delphi, the Oracle, the healing temples and the Asclepius god. That's a healing god temples that we're going to go to. I've been channeling a lot of these. They're on my channel. And one of the things that we were shown is that first the Oracle worked for Gaia. It was Gaia, and she lived in those hills, and those hills were sacred. And her son was Gi, who was a giant serpent. So the life force or the Kundalini of Gaia that she brings to the earth. And he was the guardian. So the masculine aspect of Gaia was a serpent. And now we know why in every culture, except certain ones, but most ancient cultures, the serpent is revered as transformation, as life force, as the sun. Here in the Mayan land, and even in Athens, you'll see a snake sometimes on the inside of Athena's shield. And the healing god is the symbol for the emergency symbol, the blue one with the one snake around the staff. That in the whole of the U.S. that represents the emergency people who come from the hospital. that's Asclepius. This is a Greek god. That's his rod. And that represented healing, but it started as spiritual healing. You went to these sites. They were like spas, like baths and theaters. And then you went there, but you went through a process of purification. You read the miracles of other people healed. So you had the mental download, and then you spent the night in the temple, and the god came to you with his daughters, who were the healing goddesses, and brought you the message. And then the next morning, the healers came in and you told them what the message from the God was. And then they said, oh, we're going to interpret your treatment. So, and then the hospitals were born from that. So these places hold, like where you are and where we're going to be, they hold the time of that moment when people did this and the gods were there and they brought you the direct message. You didn't have to go through others. And to me, that's the awakening of this awareness of, oh, it's not that we fight the masculine, we start to hold the space for the masculine. Once we plug in, we're going to bring that everywhere we go. So this time, you know, if the next time you come in embodying that space and being aware, right, that now we are raising the bar, because when we do it, then the wave goes through consciousness of everybody and more people will wake up. But I've been in Egypt, and you're right. They tell you a whole bunch of bullshit story about the history and how old stuff is, and they won't admit this and that. And a lot of the guides will say that same thing here in Maya land, by the way.
Right, right. But the lesson here was really, as we watched, you know, them sort of usurp the feeling of the divine feminine was so overwhelming to them that they couldn't even come in and experience it. And yet we as women have to recognize that and make it possible for them to actually experience the temple from the womb of the women. And I use that as a metaphor, of course, but we had created a juicy space, and we as women really appreciated it, but we want to invite the men to feel our juiciness, to feel that expansion of energy that comes from the feminine. And that's the difference.
Becoming safe, right? That's what's happening now, is us feeling safe, because what is the sacred feminine? It's receptive. So we have to receive the masculine if we want to create form. We can go all day long.
Create balance. And if we want to create balance, because they completely took it over, and I'm standing there thinking, oh my God, what just happened? It's now logical and rational, and the meditation is now, which was, there was nothing wrong with it, but it didn't belong in the space that it was. And so it's up to us to really recognize when that happens in our own personal relationships as well, and to kind of have an understanding of where we stand. I have this beautiful picture open, but it's not sharing tonight. And it's possible that I have to change all the settings. I haven't gone live for quite a few months, and the Wi-Fi is not that great. So here's what we're going to do. Next time we come on, Nan and I will have already practiced it, and we'll have great photos for you. Oh, next time we come on, we'll have the photos from Greece.
Or we'll be in Greece.
Spectacular. We'll be in Greece. We're going to do a live stream from Greece.
I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing
talk about the memories that are coming up. And we're going to be under the full moon as well, and have some just powerful activations. And why do we want these activations, guys? Because they connect us to spirit. You know, they help us connect the earth to the heavens. They help us bring in new information. They help activate your DNA codes. They help activate your memory. And your memory is important because it takes you out of your 3D life and connects you to actually why you're here on the planet, and your greatness, how large you are, the container that you can hold, the energy that you can hold, the feeling of what it was like to walk as an initiate and to be in that time, and at the same time you're in this place. And then you understand the power that you have held all of these lifetimes you've been here, and you can be of service in a brand new way from a brand new place. That's been my experience. And the longer I'm in Egypt, the more I've been evoking my spiritual leader. I didn't even know I was a spiritual leader. That was the word for me until I had a chance to express it and to become that who I am. And one of my ways, by the way, guys, is I like to dress for who I am. And so the hat I've been wearing, I really ought to show you.
It has wings. The one you have on.
So cute. What?
Does this have wings, the one that you have on?
Yes, it does. But this is how I wore it. I'm going to show you because my daughter
Oh,
cannot
yes,
see.
I did see
I
the
was
picture of you like this.
embodying. I think I do it this way, that I was embodying Egypt. And so if you come with us, you want to like really feel. So, okay, so already I looked cuter than normal. You know, it was like so cute.
Well, I have all my magic goddess gear on today, and I found my sparkles because I'm packing for Greece, and I'm like, I bring
I
you guys
see.
little presents and little crystals, and oh,
You know,
so
I have my crown, but I decided I was going to show you how I've been going through Egypt, and it's so fun. This is a little makeshift, but actually this is practical. Keeps your face covered. But I've been wearing all this magic on top of my head and kind of blowing my daughter away. She's like going, "Mom, you look Egyptian," and that's the whole point. One of the reasons we embody the goddess is so we can feel, wear our crowns, so that we can feel our beauty and our power, and it's very fulfilling. So I've been playing my Hathor bells, and these are the bells of Hathor. Hathor was another Egyptian goddess. She was known as the goddess of love and beauty, fun, and joy, really, also known as the cow goddess. And I will say that my ex-husband, who was not intuitive, used to call me a cow. He was making fun of me. But when I discovered I had been Hathor, suddenly I forgave him. I forgave him for his insults.
Thank you for that, because during my divorce, things were not pleasant. I was the one that wanted out. And my ex went through a phase where his only response to me, I think it was email, I don't think I was texting with him, was to anything I said, like about the children or whatever, his response was moo.
Okay, so then you get it. Yeah, this is the only thing they could resort to. But the funny part about it is that the goddess Hathor was referred to as the cow.
Yeah,
and
she had cow ears. I love cows,
cow
by the way.
ears and a cow horn. I do have. I went into a jewelry store, and I didn't know what to buy. I really wasn't going to spend any money.
Yeah,
I was
let's see it.
be conservative.
Ooh, I'm getting one.
I know I'm gonna. Oh yes, I'm going. Glad you reminded me because I'm. So anyway, so I'm not going to buy anything, and I walk in the jewelry store, and I let myself look at the glass counter because I knew I wasn't going to buy anything, and suddenly there was a pile of these in the corner of the counter, and I said, "What is this?" And he says, "It's the crown of Hathor." And of course, since I identify with Hathor, I had to buy it. And you can see these are sort of like the cow ears on either side. So Nan, you can get this in any color, but I've been very much into alabaster here, which is
is that what you have, alabaster? I was wondering if it was carnelian or and there's a lot of other symbols going on in there. The bottom is the lotus, the sacred lotus or the blue lotus. And the middle part is part of a generator. You can see it carved into some of the temples. That middle thing, it's an energy generator. So this is like you plugging into the sacred feminine, the blue lotus, and boom, turns on all the generators. And this is, of course, the sun disk. It's probably why you feel drawn to that color, because it most looks like the Egyptian hieroglyphs where they have a sun disk on their head.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be buying so we're going back into the alabaster factory, and I'm going to be buying a very large alabaster that comes all the way down here. You'll see it when I wear it in Greece. And then I'm going to change the chain on this, so it's going to hang just like this. And you're going to tell me what color you want me to get you the stone in, or give me a couple of colors, and I will bring you one.
Well, first I thought rose, but since then I've thought amethyst.
Okay, but give me a second option if they don't have it, because I might not be able to call you on the spur of the moment there.
Oh, yes. Well, only thing I'm feeling to be called is if it's not amethyst, then something gold. Maybe like that, or, something that has gold energies. So yellows, golds. I don't know what that might be that they
got
have.
it. So
or
seeking
crystal,
heaven
or clear.
Seeking heaven, I just want to clarify something. So what actually happened is that I told Nan that after Egypt, I'm going to Greece. I want to recover my memories. And that I was interested in doing a tour, Return of the Oracles. That's about all I told her. And that we had hired some kind of common tour guide, for 3 days. It wasn't going to be a spiritual tour. But I probably told her no less than that. And what Nan did was that I stirred her memories of Greece so much that she got this yearning to come. And Nan doesn't do things halfway. If she's going to come to Greece, she's going to take a group with her. She's going to plan it. And so that before I knew it, she had actually planned this very deep journey, which is the soul journey I really wanted, but didn't know how to get in Greece, because I wanted to have my memories returned so I could take all of you next year. But Nan came and created this amazing experience that we are going to experience starting October 1st or 2nd.
First, yeah.
But
and you can still come if you want.
Work together. Yes, you can still come. You see how we work together. We trigger each other's excitement, and before you know it, she created this. I think she created it from my mind. That's exactly what I wanted. Didn't want to go on a regular tour of Delphi. I wanted to experience being an oracle returning to Delphi. And that's what we're doing. So I'm just so grateful. I didn't want to just look at the Parthenon. I wanted to remember when I had been on the podium there, and I was healing millions of people in those lifetimes. And I know that with Nan, that's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
I don't go anywhere unless it's in a sacred way. And I learned that from my first Melchizedek method, my mystery teacher, when we went to Egypt for 3.5 weeks. I was there. And I don't know about you, but by the time you leave, you're going to feel like you've been to another planet, and you've been through about 200 lifetimes.
Yes.
And you re-enter the rest of the world.
Well, that's why I'm going to Greece from here. I leave here and fly to Athens. I have never been in these parts of the world before, guys. And I had lived in the desert 7 years as a hermit. So now I'm leading tours. I'm traveling around the world. But I'm like reawakening the leader that I've always been, and the goddess and the high priestess that I've been. And I'm actually activating a lot of the people here. Just walking, just when I talk on the bus, I wake people up accidentally. It's like...
Yes. There's no accident, though.
I have a big energy,
yeah,
and I share that. So, guys, if you feel the call to come to Greece in 2 weeks with us, starting October, you'd have to get there by October 1st. We would love to share the Parthenon. We would love to share Delphi, etc. Oh, and that's Tazi. Yes, I met you in Glastonbury, and here you are. All right. That's just right. So exciting to see you.
That's another place you've been.
Glastonbury was the first sacred site I went to this year.
And there was a lot of sacred feminine work there too, right?
A lot of sacred feminine work. And Neil and I held a Portal to Ascension conference in Glastonbury, which was very juicy and very connected to the land. And we're going to do it again next year, just so you know. We're going to do the Glastonbury because that's very heart-based. That is the heart chakra.
That's the goddess. Yes. And then the sacred goddess and the, Avalon and Arthur and, all it just goes rolling back into the sacred stones, right? And so on and so forth. So beautiful, because that's part of what Joan's been doing this year. If you think about what you've been doing this year, maybe your mother died, or you moved out of a house, or you changed a relationship, like what's been changing or what doors have opened, right? For you to step onto the hero's journey, I step out to the call to adventure. And I was talking this morning to a lady who's coming to Greece with us. So this was, I think, mid-August, or, like the first week and a half of August that you mentioned this. And then boom, that night I was off, and I'm like back in my child self, running around ancient Greece. I'm going, hey guys, haven't seen you in a while. What's up? And then I get up and go, wow, what's weird? And I had to go through my own month of roller coaster of really, am I meant to do this now? Do I just go and look? No, you need to take a group of sacred sisters. You need to be standing and holding hands at the temple of Poseidon as the sun goes down. You need to get a solar initiation when you're standing here. And then I would see and download feeling you know, and the other people, and standing there, and the land coming up into us, and the temple alive with the ancient spirits and all the energies, because that point is our last night, you know, and then going to Delphi. And the next day I woke up and all day I could just see my feet, and my feet were walking the sacred way in Delphi. And the sacred way is what people who came to the oracle. So you have to realize this was known around the world as the navel of the world, and respected, that kings, queens, heads of armies, of common
Political
people,
figures, everyone
political
came
figures,
to the oracle.
everyone came, and they valued it so much they brought riches. So this was one of the wealthiest places. It had treasuries everywhere. And when you walk the sacred way, it's all built on a hill, and the sacred hill was where Gaia had, and then they brought a story in of the masculine. The masculine had to come in, and Gaia told us there came a time when the tides changed, and the masculine did have to step in. And that's when the story of Apollo coming on the dolphins across the sea and killing the son of Gaia, and in some stories killing Gaia, although we know that's not true. And then they took over the site. So now the oracle worked for Apollo, which was still the radiant one, still the sun, and yet that's what built the structure. Right. And so now when you walked, you would walk up this slanted path, and I would see my feet, and then I would see another pair of feet. And I'm like, oh, okay, people are coming with me. And this is one of the ways I receive guidance. I'm 24/7 walking around in 2, 3, 10 different worlds at the same time. And so as that unfolded every day, every night, I'm going through an emotional roller coaster. I'm watching my mental construct around, do I go now? My partner had a seizure 3-4 years ago, so it's like, can I leave? And you know, just all these things. Not that I don't travel, because I do retreats here with the same thing. People come and they transform. You never leave the other end of retreat. So ever since I was in Egypt, and we got to go to sacred places and do activations, and we mixed our personal growth and our cleansing and our reaching new states and new powers, and people see visions and people see colors, and you know, reconnecting to energies. And we've had groups who had past life memories separately. We go to lunch and go, I had this past life memory, and everybody at the table says the same thing. You know, so there's all these layers of magic that happen. And I had a session with one of the ladies who's coming. She was the first person to jump in, and she was like, one of my clients. So she was like, I don't know, should I do this? And what are the fears that are coming up? And then she just was overwhelmed with that. I have to listen to my heart. I have to listen to my soul. Right? I'm jumping in even though I'm afraid, and the money, and then blah, 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 blah. Right? And we all have that. So it's a soul calling. So then as I'm doing this, I'm downloading and I'm reading 24/7, and I'm watching videos, and I'm remembering, and I'm doing the logical side of it, pulling it together, because I do retreats. It's like one of my favorite things to do is pull together, find resources. Where's the unusual? I found the original cave of the oracle, you know, I'm like, where's this and where's that? And I kept going deeper. I have to go here. I have to go there. Pretty soon, you know, the whole pantheon is here every day, and we're traveling through this whole thing over and over. So I'm already talking to the land. I've already channeled information. Now, in the last 3 days, I've been in the ocean every morning, channeling, opening the path for all of us, because we're starting to come on the path. So tonight tomorrow probably I'm sending a video to everyone coming on the retreat in a couple of weeks. And Joan and I are going to do a retreat in May. Since I did this and things started going like that, it was sort of like, oh, okay, well, maybe we can combine what we're doing.
And that's going to be a longer trip.
Yeah,
a much
longer, and there'll be different aspects of it. And we're thinking about adding islands to it. But I'm going to send a video that's going to say, here's where we're going. Here's some images so you can start to connect. Right? Here's the information and the energies that have come to me of what we're activating. And you go for yourself, right? You go to activate. You're having your own personal activations everywhere you go. Like you said, you're awakening this part of you. I call them your past life powers, or your soul goals, right? And your soul passions and your soul path. And you're doing it in an accelerated way because of where you are and what you're doing there, and that you're there now. And all of those things are, you know, like a little star crossing. So you come for yourself, and you have these awakenings, and then you come because you can't help but to be a part of the collective and the planet. And so you're doing your thing for the planet by doing this as well. You are.
And that's one reason it's important, but it's really, really important now because the planet is in chaos again. And chaos on the way to ascension But in order to make it easier for us to ascend, it's really important that we honor the voices that we're getting now, that we honor the call that we get, the inner promptings. Like my inner prompting was, I can't leave without going to Greece. I have to honor, and even if I have to walk there, I'm going to go while I'm there. But following the promptings, because when you unite with who you've been and who you are, you become powerful. And you become more in touch with who you are, and you become more of service to the world, because all of you were probably priestesses, initiates, oracles, and especially if you're listening to us tonight, oracles. And when you regain that memory as an oracle, when you regain that wisdom that you had, you're not just helping yourself, but you're helping those around you. By reawakening the past, we can create our new future from a powerful base.
And we have to reaccess those powers despite the fact that the norm is operating the way that you experienced, and we all have. Right. Like all the women were like, oh, I'm used to that.
I'm used to that. Some man could come in and let him take over once again.
Like, yeah. And it's not that we fight it. It's that we notice it, and then we become in a different way. So you don't have to be an energy worker, a psychic, an oracle, or whatever to feel called to come on this. Just know that if you come to this Greece or next Greece, or if we do one in Egypt, because that's taking form, or in Celtic land, or whatever happens,
you'll have an awakening.
You're going to have an awakening, and it could be that you reconnect to sacred feminine powers, which is that ability to receive. And until all of the people holding high frequency sacred feminine energy, which is anybody in a female body and anybody who's an awakening in other bodies, and a huge portion of the planet, right, is we have to receive. If we are not seen, if we are not nourished, if we are not recognized, if we are not valued, then we do not fully get nourished. Right. And so this is about pure self-love. Like I've been doing sessions for my clients, and especially the ones that are coming to Greece or are drawn to come next year. It's like, now you have to love yourself. Now you have to realize, oh, well, I'm going, but I feel guilty that I didn't make more money before I went. And then I'll come home and I hope things will change. Don't drag that shit. Or bring it all, because you're going to leave it there. I had an image of one lady coming, literally sitting her butt on the dirt in the site of Delphi, and like birthing this dark energy that she's carrying for her ancestry of women abuse that she's got in her sacral, and literally just like letting it out into the earth there, energetically.
I want to share something else that happened in the Queen's Chamber. So I couldn't walk all the way up to the King's Chamber because of the beautiful new boot I have on my foot.
That's right, because it turns into metal stairs, right, or something?
Yeah, metal stairs, and it weighs 100 tons, my foot does. But I got up to the Queen's Chamber, and I did a ceremony in the Queen's Chamber for several women. And I actually created a screen so no man would come in except for Alan, and I kind of forced him out, and then we created a protective shield, so even the guard had to leave. But what happened was I taught the women how we can extend our presence and our power, and how we can then send our power out to the planet and envelop the power in this very high sacred light energy that's very, very healing. Because Nan's talking about the divine feminine and reclaiming power as women. Well, what it means is to stand in your presence, to radiate that presence, to be so full of that vibrant womb energy, that vibrant creative force, that we make a difference on the planet by being in that state. And so the other component is presence and power, personal power that comes from claiming this. And so one thing that will happen is, I don't know if there are any men coming on this trip. You haven't let me know if there are. It's all women, which
no, it's all women, and I
love Nan, by the way. I don't want you to think Nan has a partner. He's male. I have some people next year who are going to come with their husbands. But what's interesting when it's all women is that it can get very juicy, very powerful. And the real learning for us is to be powerful, stand on our truth, and spread that across the planet. Because what the planet needs now is the divine feminine and her power. in her leadership. Like the other thing I've learned this trip is how to be a BAA, which is called a badass angel. And I've never, ever had boundaries. I'm a Pisces. Pisces don't have boundaries.
No.
And I've had to tell
Very
people they couldn't
intuitive.
come on the trip. Okay, I've had to call this man, tell him he couldn't come, wouldn't let him talk me out of it, said we're not interested, nothing's going to change it, and actually tell him he couldn't come. I had to actually make sure that one woman who wanted to come didn't come. And I did that gracefully, sent her a lot of things about spiritual tours more aligned with her.
That's the Egypt tour, right? That you're talking
I've
about?
had to really let my boundaries be very strong and trust my intuition. Like, trust that this person wouldn't be good. That'll bring the group down. Exactly. Trust that this other person would have been worse because she was too demanding, and bring the trip down. And I got confirmed because on this trip with Stargate, there was a woman who apparently has caused problems on many of their other retreats. So they already knew she was trouble, but she was good friends with them. And so that's where our feelings get in the way. You know, oh God, that's my friend. Of course, they won't do it again. Well, she did it again. She did something outrageous in the King's Chamber and made a huge scene in the, and you're not allowed, guys. You're supposed to be quiet. The guards watch you now. You can't take photos. You can't do anything outrageous. And so she made a big scene, and she got to the bottom of it and screamed and yelled, and then she wanted to go back in, and our tour guide let her back in. But she started to get outrageous again, and when that happened, the guards actually made him remove like 10 people. They had 55 people, and they had to remove 5 because he had lost his power with the guards now. So it ruined part of the experience for people. And then they had to tell her to leave the next day. So she's gone now. But the lesson from that was they actually knew she was trouble, and their feelings get in the way. Like, oh, I can't do that. They've saved their whole money, you know, forever, or whatever reason. Even the guys on the Portal to Ascension tour were the same way. Well, he's a good guy. He's got a good heart. But we women actually know in our heart when something's not going to work out right, but we go along with it because we don't want to make waves. So learning to be a BAA is a good part of my training now, to really learn how to see that this is not going to have a good outcome. Because you
have to be about the literally, to me, the spiritual journey or the sacred purpose. And that's where you have to go through learning, because being spiritual or being a healer doesn't mean that people walk all over you.
Right.
Being loving doesn't mean you say yes to everybody and you sit in the back and allow people to abuse you. Like, oh, well, my mom's old and she's half senile.
Right. Well, she's our good friend.
No,
that's what they said. She's our good friend. You know, how could we?
Because you have to be the container for the greater good. Because I am going for me personally, but that's one of a kaleidoscope of reasons why I'm going. And my first thing is it has to be sacred. It can be really fun, but it has to be sacred. For me, there has to be a spiritual opening. And I know I have to be able to tap in and tune into the magic. And then the people who show up, I'm the same way. I've had people I've said, no, I'm sorry, because it's not aligned for the group. And I don't even make it personal. It has nothing to do with it. If I'm holding the space and creating this, and I'm talking to the land, and I'm calling the spirits, and I'm making sure everybody is protected and guided, then it has to. Then if I knowingly say, well, you know, it's part of that spiritual person's journey, and it doesn't make you mean or unloving. And one of the things we're really being called to very fast is to leave our emotional body that's contaminated and toxic with all these ideas of guilt and shame and misery and craving and disappointment and anger and victimhood. And, I have to feel sorry for that person to be polite. No, you don't. You don't have to go tell them what to do either. Right? You have to find your own step out. Often I just see that spirit says, just step out of this like it's a shell to this timeline right next to you, into that shell, and just watch where you came from, see the drama, see the story, drop out of the energy underneath it. I used to say, what's underneath that? And what's underneath that? because I had a spiritual, I had a complete breakdown in my life, and I had no idea what spirituality or even religion was. It was all intellectual. Work hard, suffer a lot, then you're a good person. Go do
Right,
that.
right, and carry guilt and shame wherever you go.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's great. So I think we have a lot to talk about, and I think we're going to be doing some more connections and some more sacred feminine work. And I know a lot of you are drawn to the idea of the divine feminine or the sacred feminine. And for those of you who are like, well, I don't know if that's my container, realize this, that you're intuitive and your nature is intuitive. And the more that we realize that there is a black and white. So when you were talking earlier about the sacred feminine womb and then the masculine coming in and saying, you leave. I was like, wow, here's this. I was seeing this glowing white light sphere, and then they came in and it was like they were hitting this sphere of light you had contained.
And they didn't even see it, Nan. They didn't even see it. They didn't see it.
But they wanted you to leave. Why were you not allowed to be a part of the meditation? It was like, get out, get out, get out, because it's the only thing they know. You've had your time, even though he led a meditation then, right?
In his own way. We need to be in there.
We need this. But what I saw was that both sides are at this state of blink, blink, blink. You're feeling it and going, no, I'm not letting my boundaries down that way, but I'm not sure how to do it yet, right? That's what we're getting with the sacred feminine. And the masculine is going, oh, wait, this is weird. This is the only way I know how to react. And then once we activate more of the sacred energy, and it starts coming up in every life form on the planet, and this is what we're doing the next year minimum, because the next 2 years are going to be epic change. It's a dragon year next year, okay? So what's happening is that as divine feminine containers that have to handle both sides to create in the world, right? Energies. We are supposed to be supported by. We are supposed to receive support, protection, creation by the masculine energy, and we have to be able to receive it. So the next time that comes in, the sacred feminine being able to go, oh, well, we're strong enough to invite you in, but we're inviting you in like this. Into
this container, your role.
Space. And then we're receiving you into the heart space. And who knows, like the levels of energy. But this is just some of the stuff. Everybody's going to notice as you start thinking about this, where is this repressed in my mindset, in my culture, in my neighborhood, in my family? Where do I feel uncomfortable talking about this? Because we're not blaming people, because there are going to be people in your life that you make excuses for because it's just habit. Especially if it's like an elder parent and they're behaving abusively and you're like, oh, I just have to put up with it. I just had this conversation with a client. I'm like, you can be there lovingly for your mother, but you do not have to be subject to the abuse. Because she was like, I just took it and then I went home and cleansed it. And I'm like, no taking it. Step out of the firing field. It is not required. It's toxic. So these things of shifting, like, I love you, Mom, but I'm going to talk to you on the phone today, and then I'm not coming over. And you don't have to tell her that. You don't have to tell people you're toxic or whatever. You just choose for yourself.
Yeah. Right? So I just want to share one story, and then we have to go. So, it's all this talk about divine feminine and goddess energy. I never really talked about it. I haven't never ever talked about it, actually, because it wasn't even in my reality, even though I've known about my past lives and all of that. But I was on an interview. I was interviewing this woman, and she's now my publisher, Radha. God, her whole name's Radha Publishing, anyway. And I'm interviewing her, and she comes on dressed like a goddess to the nines, and I just came looking like a normal woman. All right, so that was the first inkling I had that this was going to be a very unique show. And I'm feeling uncomfortable because it's like, well, I could have dressed like that. Gosh darn it, why didn't I? And she was looking so outrageous. And then she starts talking to me. Now I'm supposed to be interviewing her. And she starts telling me about my life as a high priestess and my life in Atlantis and my life in Egypt. And I'm on the show listening to her. And she triggered all of my memories just by that show, by her feminine presence. And I think Nan and I do that for you guys, but she triggered me so that when I got off the phone with her or a Zoom call with her, I, number one, started having dreams and visions of the drowning of Atlantis and what I had done. But then she asked me to write a chapter for her book because I began to embody Hathor just naturally. So you don't really even have to know that you're a divine feminine goddess. You just have to be open to the fact that there's some things there for you to learn, that we've all had these lifetimes and there's things for you to awaken to. I mean, I'm on the middle of an interview. I'm interviewing her. In fact, Tina Marie, I think, might have been on that interview. You know, she's always in the background for us. And I'm being blown away by suddenly realizing, oh my God, I've been denying that I could have ever been that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to tell you more next time. And I think the next time you'll hear from us, we'll do a live stream from Greece.
Do we have a few minutes to channel a blessing or something for the equinox?
Well, we do have a couple of minutes. Yes,
okay.
yes.
I don't know. This is like your techie thing, so I don't know if we're gonna like time out or something.
Well, we could time out, but also I have to get up. You know, I'm in a different time zone than you.
That's true.
And
you are, and you have to get up in a few hours.
Little bedtime.
Well, good. This will be taking you into that.
Okay,
so,
you do a channeling, and I'll do a channeling, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so I want to just share with everybody that on my channel below, you've got a link to Joan's website. You've got a link to the Greece tour that we're doing in May. There's a whole page for that already with all the details, and you can talk to either one of us about it. And we're both giving away a beautiful bonus if you sign up before Halloween and Samhain. You'll get a private session with each of us if you to come next May. And Saturday is the equinox, and I will be doing a live stream on my channel with equinox powers and energies and meditations if you would like to join. Okay, good. Well, let me go here and see who wants to talk. So I don't know if you saw, this is my Isis from Egypt the first time I went.
Uh-huh.
And I just opened these up literally, Joan, since you've been in Egypt. I had a few boxes still I hadn't unpacked. These are from Egypt.
You haven't been in Egypt for years.
Oh, this was 23 years ago. Here's my Thoth that goes everywhere with me. His hand's broken off so many times I carry it with me separately. And he's my honey bunny. And then I have Aphrodite here. So we have our goddess of love from Egypt. And we have dolphins, and we have a lot of crystals that you can't see. So there's a lot of spirit guides with me. We tune into all of the energies in the earth and of the Gaia, any level. You don't have to believe or have any particular thing. However, inside the temple of light that I create before the show, there is a gold and silver cone of light above and below you. So if you are here, you can take a deep breath in. I know many of you are used to this. It's called the Infinity Healing Chamber. And that begins, you are now between the worlds, perfectly balanced between above and below. And on this sacred equinox path and moment, you have within you the power to manifest this space between the worlds at 0 point. This is the place of the deepest heart. So we now call on the all-seeing eye, Isis Horus, and ask it to wrap us within it. And surrounding that is a hologram of light, of the flower of life. Take a deep breath in, bring it into your heart, and put into that breath, I'm ready and willing and open and receptive to be a clear and open channel to the highest good for my soul at this moment. Let the breath go whatever way you feel called. Thought intention with breath is a very magical power. Now, allow yourself to fade from your world. Feel yourself entering this equinox portal. The equinox is an incredible portal, and your soul is opening many doorways for you. These are magical doorways. They line the path. There's many places. You have choices all around you. It does not matter if you know what's there. This is not a choice you make with your mind. Take a deep breath in. We call on the divine feminine from Delphi, Gaia, from Isis, Athena, And all of the embodiments of this divine sacred energy, bring it into your body and let it begin to radiate out. And you let the breath go, let it seep into your muscles, your blood, your skin, your bones, radiating now out through the energy centers and into the aura. We call on the divine feminine in all forms through time and space, in any time, in any life, in any soul. We are here to lead the light, to open the doors that have been walls to us, to reconnect, rewire, and remember the divine, sacred, feminine powers that live within all of us, that have always been there, and that are ready and are awakening. Like a timer, like an alarm clock, like an appointment with our soul. These moments are opening. The doorways to magical leaps in your soul powers line for the next 5 days. You will see, you will sense, you will know. And it is in your hands. Walk this path of balance by drawing in now Gaia, the divine, sacred, feminine mother of unconditional love, accelerated healing, truth, and the original life force energy. Let it enter your root. Let it fill your sacral. Let it reconnect your navel. Now take a breath in through Gaia, through your root, into your sacral, right in to those 8 original cells. I accept all this divine energy as is optimal for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was so beautiful, Nan. I'm just going to add a little bit of my own prayer that we ask right now in full gratitude that we come together as part of a transformative energy now. That we drop all fears of what keeps us bound, that keeps us from stepping forward, that keeps us from acknowledging the own voices in our soul that are calling us to be greater than we are, that are calling us to move forward, that are calling us to take the next step in our evolution, and are calling us to drop those fears and those concerns, because we know that when we take that step forward, Spirit always reaches out and takes us home. And it is in the saying yes to that which scares us, that which excites us, that which calls us, despite the 3D realities, despite the, oh, I can't go. So we say to you that during this time between now and the equinox, that you allow yourself to listen to the call of those inner voices within you, that you allow yourself to say yes, that you allow this transformative shift that happens when we say yes to the grand adventure and the grand spirit, knowing that you will be held, knowing that in the result of that, you'll be able to hear even greater the voices of the divine goddess, the voices of those beings who've been with us from the beginning of time, and even take your place as one of those divine beings. So this is our time of awakening. It's our time of being true to ourselves. And we're always true to ourselves when we listen to the call, when we hear that voice within. So go within tonight, take this energy and let it sort through you. Listen to the whole program again. Listen to Nan's beautiful, beautiful calling, her blessing, her affirmation, and ask yourself, what is true for me? What is my soul actually reaching deep into my bowels, into my womb to tell me? What would restore me to that feeling of wholeness, to that feeling of power and presence, so that I can take my place as that powerful feminine being that I am and shine my light to the world. So together, Nan and I create a great balance of bringing that to you. And it's just an honor to serve each and every one of you, all of you who are new to me, all of you who I haven't seen for a while, and to co-create with Nan, with Akasha herself, the goddess Akasha to be able to help free your soul, to help you say yes to that which is your destiny. So we're very, very grateful. Go check out Nan, her work, check out my work, join us, and we'll be reaching out to you from Greece. Can't even believe I'm going to Greece. Yes.
I know. I'm going to be there in the full moon, and the next night we're going to be up on the under the full moon.
We have dinner together. So, and Nan and I have only met online, just like
4
some
years
of you,
ago.
we've only met online. Yeah, Nan reached out to me to be on one of her programs. But, guys, when you start to believe in yourself and you start to trust that you're being called in a new direction, follow the call, hun. Just give it all you got, because, in the end, we only have this one life. We don't really, we have the now. We have all those other lives, but we have the now. So we'll see you all next time.
Thank you, sweetie.
Oh, yeah, please like, subscribe, and to each of our channels, and follow us, and
share this. Please share this, because your energy has been a part of this. Joan's been channeling energy from ancient Egypt. I've been channeling energy here from the Maya land. We've been channeling energy in from Greece, because that's just like where I live right now. And then you're bringing in your energy. So this is a beautiful kaleidoscope. We're co-creating a community around the world of those of us who are really on this path of light. So from wherever you are, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being you, for being willing to love yourself, take care of yourself, let go of the ideas you have about yourself, and let this divine love fill you up during this beautiful equinox. Thank you, Joan.
And know that you too can go through a huge transformation. And the transformation begins with 3-letter word called yes. Yes, I hear. Yes, I will. Yes, I am. Yes, I have. It's all in your YES. So there you have it, guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, all of you beautiful souls out there. Nan and I are just so honored you showed up and that you were working with us, and we're going to continue this circle.
Yes.
Have a blessed and beautiful day or night wherever you are.
Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.